Who believes in global warming?
Let me quote from that statement. There is no documented historic precedent for the action needed at this moment in order to address the incredible crisis that we're facing in terms of climate change. And what they said is that we have 12 years, not a lot of time, to bring this planet together to stop the worst impacts of climate change. And if we are not successful, then the planet that we are going to be leaving to our children and our grandchildren will be a planet of more drought, of more floods, of more very extreme weather disturbances. And we're beginning to see some of that already. More acidification of the ocean, more rising sea levels, so that coastal areas will be flooded. We're going to be leaving our children and grandchildren a planet where hundreds of millions of people will likely have to leave their own communities because of drought and flood and then migrate someplace else, causing massive dislocation and national security issues all over the world. That is what we are facing, and that's what this panel has just told us. Meanwhile, in the White House, we have an anti-science president who not only refuses to acknowledge the reality of climate change,
All of this with the global warming and that, a lot of it's a hoax.
but is actually pursuing policies which will put more carbon into the atmosphere on behalf of his friends in the coal industry, in the oil industry, and the gas industry. But nonetheless, for the sake of future generations and the future of this planet, we as a nation and we as a world have got to come together to develop bold solutions to the crisis of climate change. And the good news is we now have the technology in order to do that. And what we have to summon up, not only in America, but all over the world, is the political will. So just a few points that I want to make. Number one, clearly this is not a quote-unquote American issue.
The Paris Climate Accord is simply the latest example of Washington entering into an agreement that disadvantages the United States to the exclusive benefit of other countries.
This is an international issue because every country on earth, every section of this planet is going to be impacted by climate change in increasingly severe ways. And I'm not just talking about Europe, we're talking about Africa, we're talking about Latin America, we're talking about Asia, we're talking about the entire planet looking at more serious problems because of climate change. And let me just mention that I am going to be working with fellow senators to bring forth the most sweeping climate change legislation ever introduced in the Senate. We are in a crisis moment and we need unprecedented, strong legislation in order to address that crisis. So what are we going to do? Number one, we're going to be clearly talking about the transformation of our energy system away from fossil fuels. It is insane that the fossil fuel industry, aided by Donald Trump, is more concerned about their bloody short-term profits than they are about the future of the planet and the lives of our kids and future generations. So we have got to transform our entire energy system away from fossil fuel, and we do that through massive efforts at energy efficiency, making our homes and our buildings much more energy efficient so that we're not wasting large amounts of energy. And number two, of course, we have to move to sustainable energies like solar and wind. We have got to move to the electrification of our transportation system. We can do all of these things. The technology is there right now, and that technology is only going to improve in the years to come. Cost of solar has plummeted in recent years. Cost of wind has plummeted in recent years. We're seeing more electric cars out on the road, more hybrids out on the road. So the challenge we face is not a technological one. The crisis we face in this country is a political one. So in America, we have got to stand up to tell Trump that he has to read science, understand science. We got to move the United States Congress forward on strong climate change legislation. We have got to bring countries all over the world together on this issue, because if we don't solve it, we all go down together. And the truth is that the people in India and the people in China and people in Africa, they love their kids and they love their grandchildren. And we've got to bring people together to transform our energy system and save this planet. Let's go forward together on this enormously important issue. Thank you very much.